Hello, dear friend, and welcome back. My name is Treby, and I help drummers build successful, high paying careers that they could be proud of and happy. Okay, so something I want to cover today. I was thinking about bridges earlier, and this came from the book, I think it was Story Brand by Donald Miller. Yeah, Building a Story Brand. Uh, and I thought about this. Getting gigs is a lot like building bridges. So like, so there's so many ways to get high paying gigs. You could build a bridge to, um, uh, let's say from your basement, right? Let's say you're on YouTube. Let's say, because I always talk about promotion, right? Because that's all that is. It's all promotion, right? You could build a bridge from your basement to getting a bar gig for, let's say, $100, $200. So there you go. You're $200 richer. Now check this out. So there's multiple bridges to everything, right? So I'm always talking about this. So let's say you can build multiple bridges, or do like gig feeds or feeding gigs, right? Meaning what that is that's a relatively new term, I guess, where you go from bar gigs to tribute gigs to worship gigs to cruise ship gigs to touring gigs, or national touring gigs, like all kinds of stuff, right? Broadway gigs. So you could build multiple bridges, right? So there's two ways to do these things, okay? One is the more traditional route of going out and just meeting people, promoting yourself in person, right? And you do that two ways. You go meet people at their gigs where they are, right? And you also play gigs, okay? So it depends where you're at. And I thought about bridges, bridges towards high-paying gigs, right? Well, and I realized that's what I help my coaching clients and students do all the time. When they want to get high-paying gigs and they don't know how, and they hire me for coaching, well, I work with them on their promoting and their gig acquisitions to the point where once they're, making the kind of money they want and on tour, boom, you've crossed that bridge. And so I realized my programs, my challenges, my coaching programs help people do that, which is great. So that's definitely another avenue, right? Which I do help people with. But let's say you're in your basement, right? I'm giving another example, right? And let's say you want to go to from your basement to, let's just say you have skill and you want to go towards like a cruise ship gig. And let's say you know how to play those styles of music, because you're going to need to know a lot. Let's say your sight reading is together. And if it's not, you can call me. No, but seriously, call me if you have trouble with that. Okay, I'm here to help. Zoe, chill out. And my dog is wandering around, not knowing what to do while I'm recording this. Her name is Zoe, by the way. She's a husky lab. But anyway, let's say if you want to get a cruise ship gig, right? And you have skills, and you want to cross that bridge or get, or build that bridge towards that. Well, what you would do is the way to get to that bridge, right, or to build that, is grab those skills, right? Do your research, grab those skills, and you would start to audition at those particular agencies, right? Lime and Worldwide Entertainment. There's a few. So you would go and audition for those particular gigs, and you might have to do that for a while. Who knows? But definitely, you're not going to get noticed just being in your basement, hoping someone sees you. Now, again, we need to proactively get out there, right? That's part of this. That's in any industry, by the way. What do you think email marketing is? You're getting in front of people. That's it. That's all it is. It's promotion. It's saying hello, hi, how are you? That's all that is, right? If I go to my friend's house and I show up and say, hey, what's going on? Guess what that is? Promotion. Because they know who I am. That's promoting. That's it. If a gig buddy friend of mine recommends me for a gig and says, "Hey, you need to call this guy," guess what that is? He just promoted me. That's all, because he's played with me. Okay, so that's how you would do the cruise ship bridge, right? So let's say let's say you're a bar gig, right? You're doing bar gigs, and let's say you want to build a bridge to, I don't know, let's say tribute gigs. Okay, let's just say. Okay, well, again, two ways to do this. You can be in front of people, right? And at the same time, you can also build your YouTube channel or whatever social media platform you want. The point is eyes need to get on you. And by the way, and I've been saying this, the way you get the kind of gigs you want on YouTube, okay, is make the channel of exactly what you want to do. So in other words, and I've said this before in other particular videos, if you want to be a touring musician, name it the touring drummer or something, or touring musician, whatever you want. Okay, if you want to be a Broadway drummer, okay, then you want to make videos of you playing Broadway stuff, and you call it the Broadway drummer or something. I saw a Instagram post. There's a drummer friend that I used to work with at a music school a long time ago. Her name is Karen. Karen Fetter. You can look her up. And I love her front page on Instagram. You know what it says? Future Broadway drummer. I thought that was fantastic because she's already telling people what she wants to do. I love that, and she's going to get it. Let me tell you something. She's going to get it because she's in the right place. She's in the industry. All right, she's already making strides towards that because she's telling people what she wants to do. And guess what? Once the right director or right musician or artist comes across and says, "Oh, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I could use you." You never know. That's promotion. So I like that. She's already saying it. I love it. So yeah, that's how you would do it, right? You would go out and find these people. So one of the ways you can get a Broadway gig, besides a YouTube channel, okay, I would do two things, right? Do your YouTube, but then at the same time have reach out to music directors or the conductors of those particular Broadway shows. Definitely, that's a good way to go about it. And you want to let them know how you can serve them. Don't make it all about you, okay? Make it about them, okay? Because you know what? Your playing will speak for itself. You don't need to convince them to do anything. Because convincing and persuading is not doing anything. As a matter of fact, it's repelling. Just, offer them an invitation. Say, hey, I would love to serve you one day if it's ever available, okay? And you keep in touch with these people, okay? That's promotion, okay? I did that when I was first starting out. When I left the cruise ship gigs and I came back home to get into the regular local scene, right? Because I'd already made a good amount of money, so I'm like, okay, cool, everything's covered for me, which was great. So that's a thing. I was able to go out, get gigs locally, and do stuff like that. And this is obviously, before I started playing with big acts and stuff like that. But the point is it all comes from people, okay? And you need to be where people are, okay? And almost everyone's on YouTube, right? Everyone looks at YouTube, almost every single person. And everybody gets out and socializes for the most part, okay? So that's a particular type of bridge, okay? Definitely utilize the more traditional route of going out there and meeting people, right? Going where these people are, reaching out, and then YouTube, right? Or whatever social media platform you want to make your videos on. The point is people need to see you, and that's why YouTube is so great, because it's all eyes. That's what I'm talking about. All eyes, okay? How can you get gigs? People don't know who you are. Doesn't make any sense, right? It really doesn't. So there's a few ways to build some bridges, right? You want to know where you're going, right? And other people, you need to tell other people where you want to go and where you want to take them. See, that's why I think reaching out to these people and saying, hey, I would love to serve you, right? How can I serve you? So you're letting them know that, you want to be involved in their lives. You want to take them places. That's part of it. You want that. That's a good idea. I think that's a brilliant idea. And you know what? You know what doesn't help you? You know what doesn't help you get gigs? Music school. You know, I don't know why people think that music school gets you gigs. Now it could definitely help you network, and then you could definitely like start to leverage. Maybe not leverage is a good word. Maybe you could start to like lean on your friends because they're gonna call you and stuff like that, and you can always keep in touch with your college mates and stuff like that. That's cool. That's a great idea. But you know, like when I was coming out of college, I had to actually actively go and get these gigs. I had to, and this was before YouTube, right? Before you could post anything online. I actually had to go to one of my mentors and say, hey, how can I start gigging like right away? Because nobody knows who I am. And bingo, that's the thing. If nobody who knows who you are, how can they utilize you? Doesn't make any sense. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger said it best. He goes, if people don't know you and you, let's say you're a musician and you have a great album, but no one can hear it because nobody knows who you are. Yeah, that's kind of nil, right? So anyway, so all we're talking about is getting to know people, and that's where the bridges come in, okay? But you're setting your direction, and you're starting to build that bridge, okay? The easiest bridge I know how to get into these big, elaborate, like top A touring artists, you know, like Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift, you know, Olivia Dean, you know, anyone around there, you know, dude, I'm telling you, definitely cruise ship gigs help because then you're around music directors, because there's a music director on every single cruise ship. I got news for you. They're there. They get hired and paid a lot of money to do this. You know, I think at one time, I forget what cruise it was, but Stevie Wonder's former music director was the music director on this cruise ship. So he was making a lot of money. And so that could catapult you if you do a great job on these cruise ships, you know. And listen, I mean, you could build multiple bridges. Let's say you're on the cruise ship already, okay? Let's say you already crossed that bridge and you're already at your destination. You're doing it, right? Let's say you're like, okay, after about 2-3 years, I want to do X. Start going towards that route. And you don't have to change anything. Like when it comes to your YouTube, just start putting out a different signal to people. You know, start talking about, you know, let's say you want to go do international tours or big tours. Start like making YouTube videos about that. But like I always say, always document what you're doing. So if you're playing on cruise ships at the moment, document, you know, put videos up. I'm telling you, drum cams, it's huge. I teach all my students and coaching clients how to do all this stuff. You know, and this is what I call the blueprint load. Oh my God, I can't even talk today. Blueprint roadmap to higher paying gigs, because it really is. Now, it's gonna take a little time. That's okay. All right, where are you in a rush to? I think you'll be fine. Okay, slow and steady wins the race, and that will never change. It hasn't changed, and it won't. So those are the bridges. I mean, you know, and there's so many ways to build bridges to where you want to be. Those are just a few, right? I mean, let's say, I don't know, let's go a different route. Let's say you're a music educator, right? Let's say you're a coach. I don't know, like I am, okay? And let's say you want to build better musicians and get them high-paying gigs. You know, sounds like my avenue. Okay, guess what you do? You build bridges. So I have to have, for myself, master classes to offer people to show them what I do, so that they can hire me to get higher paying gigs. Not that difficult because I know how to do that. You know, and then challenges. You know, I have a 5-day challenge that people can come and learn from me, and they gain a lot of knowledge and value in developing their own blueprint roadmap. and I show them how to do this, and they're stunned by the time they realize, oh my God, this is gold. It's great. And then they realize, oh, I don't want to stop working with you, and then they hire me as a coach, because they realize, oh my God, it's even simpler. It's not luck. I got news for you. You are in total control of what you do. I got news for you. If you actually thought that, oh, I can't do that, well, you're right, because you just told yourself you can't. But if you say, oh, I can do that, you're right, because you just told yourself you can. The person that says he can't. And the person that says he will. They're both right. So, I used to hear that. So, again, multiple bridges. Let's talk about it. Bar gigs, right? Bar gigs can lead to tribute gigs. That's a bridge, right? So what would you do? Well, if you're a bar band musician already, start talking about getting tribute gigs and posting about that on a video platform like YouTube, where people can see you doing tribute stuff. So, in other words, start doing what you want to do, okay? So people can see it. Then, let's say you're there. Your bridge is you're already across that bridge, right? Let's say you're at tribute gigs. Let's say you want to go towards cruise ship. Let's just say, okay. Well, while you're on the tribute, okay, you're making money, right? And you're making decent money. Start going towards the direction of gaining cruise ship gigs. So that means not only would you make your YouTube, right? In other words, you just pivot. You're always going to pivot towards what you want. That's how you do it. So you'd pivot, right? That's a good, better word for it, pivot. You'd pivot towards that, okay? And you would start making videos about that. Now, you don't have to pivot in your videos. You could just make other channels. But I wouldn't recommend that, because you already have an audience, right? If people like your content. So I think you'd be okay sticking with one channel, because you can evolve, okay? You can evolve, and you be all right. There's who's saying you can't, okay? So check that out. That's called a gig feed, right? And then while you're on a tribute gig, you're making videos about becoming a cruise ship drummer, okay? So obviously you're going to make videos, and you're going to go audition for those particular gigs. And I show people how to do that. And then, let's say you're on the cruise ships and you want to do tours, right? Because you're technically already a touring musician if you're doing cruise ships, right? Okay, not hard. You will come across a lot of directors. And by the way, I'm going to give another little tip here, and people can disagree with me or not. Here it is. While you're on the cruise ship gig, and let's say you're making videos and posting your... Oh, there she goes. She's shaking. My dog's being distracting. Let's say you're making videos, and you're posting, and you're auditioning, and I'm sorry, not auditioning, but you're playing the cruise ship gigs. Let's say you're on there already. Okay, then you obviously want to reach out to managers, music directors, and again, you want to describe to them in a script, and give these scripts out in my challenges and in my coaching clients. They all get these. How to serve them, just say, hey, I'm Zach Treby. I've done this. I would love to have an opportunity to serve you. And you explain how you would do that. But always talk about them. That's the key. Always talk about them, right? This is not difficult. These bridges are not hard to build. They might take a little time. Not a lot if you treat it like a business. Because if you don't know where you're going, how can you get there? Right? You know how I used to hear that? I don't know about you. I used to hear that all the time. And I never really knew what that meant. I never knew what that meant at all. I'm like, I don't get that. I just don't know. But anyway, this is stuff I explain in my 5-day gig ready drummer challenge to people that are curious about building a successful drumming career blueprint and a roadmap to go along with it. It's really not hard. It's pretty easy. And, the coaching clients, I work with them literally one-on-one, where we are literally getting these results. And we don't stop until they get it. And that's by the way, that's what a good coach does. It's not that difficult. So if that's all for today, I think, because the bridge is an easy concept. But if you're interested in signing up for one of the challenges, you'll get lots of value. You'll get the blueprint about how to build your drumming career towards high-paying gigs, so you can live a better life, right? And I'll leave that because I believe the next challenge I'm doing is in June, right? Because I just closed one, so now I'm doing another one in June, in the middle of June. So I'll leave the link to that in the description below here, so that you can see that, and my website as well. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to describe the easy bridges. Okay, everyone's gonna tell you, oh, you need to hustle, 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 and I'm like, yeah, playing gigs, yeah, but I don't know. I'm not so sure about that because I never really hustled, so to speak. I mean, I already had the skills, because having the skills, that's part of it, and I think, like, if you don't have the skills, yeah, you do need to hustle. But if you have the skills and know how to play, and you're willing to travel a little bit, I think you'd be okay. I don't think it's that big a deal. So anyway, dear friend, till next time, I'm really looking forward to sharing more about how to obtain high-paying gigs with you. So bye-bye for now.